Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to episode number 32 of Just Jets. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary. Here, going to be hanging out, talking some New York Jets football. We're going to have Richie from NY Jets Media on today to talk about the first 2 weeks of the year and another embarrassing loss for the New York Jets. We have a ton of questions to get through as well. Oh, this stinks. This really stinks, guys. 2 games into the season, and it absolutely feels like it's over. I am rocking the Fire Gase shirt, which you can buy. Link in the description below, along with all the other merch that I sell there. It's just an absolute disgrace week in and week out with this coach. Every single week, his team is not prepared to play. The offense absolutely stinks. He has no creativity. We're going to give Frank Gore the ball 21 times. 21 rushes for a 37-year-old Frank Gore is inexcusable. Kicking a field goal down by 3 touchdowns, inexcusable. Giving Josh Adams the football for the first time all day on 4th and 1, inexcusable. Having your third-year quarterback not be allowed to audible out of a bad 4th and 1 play, inexcusable. So much of this team has been inexcusable. It's been an absolute disgrace. I'm disgusted with how this team played on Sunday against the 49ers, a banged-up 49ers team. They were without their quarterback for the entire second half. They were without 2 of their better defensive players. 3, really, if you count Richard Sherman, who didn't play all game. They lost Thomas. They lost Nick Bosa as well. It was a depleted team. They played not to lose, and they still got blown out. Adam Gase's game plan was, let me be as conservative as possible so I don't get my doors blown off, and he got his doors blown off. That's how bad of a head coach that he is. That's how much the NFL has passed him by. He stinks. He has to go. No question about it. It's inexcusable what's been happening the last 2 weeks. He is doing everything in his part to ruin the franchise quarterback. I'm not giving up on Sam Darnold yet. I'm going to have Richie on. We're going to talk about Sam Darnold in just a little bit. But to me, the main number one issue, yes, the roster is not good. I understand that, but the coach is to blame. It's Adam Gase's fault. Let's get into it with Richie before we get to your questions. Here's Richie from NY Jets Media. All right, I would like to welcome on Richie from NY Jets Media. Richie, how you doing, my man?
How's it going, Matt? Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Yeah, absolutely. Times are tough as Jets fans, Richie. I know we've both done a ton of videos on it the past few days. Just thoughts on week 2, man?
I mean, going into week 2 was a little – I was prepared for the disappointment. You know, week 1, it was really so much built up from the offseason. We have all this hype going in. We were the draft, the free agency, and we saw the Jets against the Buffalo Bills look like an absolute mess. So going into week 2, I had way lower expectations, so I was definitely disappointed with the result, but I wasn't as upset as I was week 1 against Buffalo.
Yeah, I think I'm with you for the most part, maybe just because my expectations were just completely, so much lower after that embarrassing performance in week 1. To me, the frustrating part was how many injuries the 49ers had, and they still couldn't get back in the game. Nick Bosa left early. Solomon Thomas left early. Jimmy G didn't play the entire second half, and they still lost by almost 30 points. How's that possible?
It doesn't make sense. And we had a limping Jimmy G all first half, and he was still getting first downs. This defense did not know how to tackle. It felt like this whole team just didn't have energy, and it really goes on the coaching staff. And I'm a big Greg Williams fan, but this Greg Williams defense is not looking like the defense from last year. And there's a lot of missed tackles. So it's really unfortunate. And obviously Adam Gase we're going to get into Adam Gase throughout this whole podcast, I'm assuming. And he really is proving to be a terrible offensive mind.
Yeah, dude, 100%. You mentioned Williams. I want to talk about him quick for a second before we get to Gase. The Jets lead the league in missed tackles right now, which is scary when you consider that they were, nearly a top 10 defense last year. This is, a team who was really stout against the run, gave up an 80-yard run to start the game, and then a 55-yard run on 3rd and 31. What is going on with Greg Williams' defense?
I mean, I know Jets fans don't want to hear this, but I really think the Jets are missing out on Jamal Adams right now. He was a big reason why we were top 10 last year. He did miss a couple games, but he was our Energizer Bunny. He was the guy that everybody gravitated towards. They saw how much effort and energy Jamal Adams had, and they wanted to match his energy. So I feel like the departure of Jamal Adams is a big reason why this Jets defense is not looking the same. And it's really unfortunate because, we traded away Jamal. I love the haul, and I understand the whole situation with Jamal. He needed to go. If he did not want to be here, Joe Douglas did the right thing to do to get the haul that he got, which was incredible.
Right.
But that is a big reason why this Jets defense is looking that poor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. I definitely think they are missing Jamal Adams. I think it was the right move to move on from him. He clearly didn't want to be here, but I do think that's playing an impact. As for Adam Gase, I mean, can you draw up a worse game plan than what he had on Sunday?
Man, it just frustrates me because even I can predict what he's going to do. I mean, there was this late in the game, 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4, and I just knew we're about to see a little out route. And I'm just like, Adam Gase, please just don't call an out route, because that's like, you already called it 5 times. Like, they know it's going to come. And what does he do? Call a quick out route to Josh Malone, and he catches the ball short of the first down, excuse me. So it's just so predictable. It's either a halfback dive with Frank Gore up the middle, a screen pass, or a quick out route. And he doesn't not let Sam Darnold throw the ball down the field. I know he made that excuse saying, well, Brashad Perriman went out, and that was our only deep threat. So that's why we didn't get to throw the ball downfield. But still, I don't buy that excuse. You need to space the defense. You need to get Sam Darnold in rhythm, and he's not going to get comfortable in your system if you're just going to continuously call screen plays, quick out routes, and not get the ball in space with these playmakers. And I know that there's not a lot of playmakers. I know that Josh Malone and Braxton Berrios at some point were the only healthy receivers. Luckily, Chris Hogan came back. Right. And I know that there's practice squad receivers out there, but still, like, Adam Gase needs to open up his playbook. And that one phenomenal touchdown Sam Darnold had nothing to do with Adam Gase. And that just proves it was a broken down play. It was a play where Sam Darnold had pressure up the middle because Greg Van Roten got beat. He escaped pressure, stayed balanced, rolled to his left, broken down play. Braxton Berrios broke off his route, cut up field, and Sam Darnold throws an incredible ball off platform, rolling to his left, throws a dime to his right, touchdown. And that just proves that Adam Gase had nothing to do with it. And there's a lot of people on Twitter that are seeing this play finally from Sam Darnold and actually realizing, Sam Darnold has all the talent in the world. And they're like, wow, free Sam Darnold. They need to get Adam Gase out of there, because there's some, non-Jets fans, this is what I'm talking about. Like, the national media is now kind of realizing after seeing that play from Sam. I understand it's garbage time. I understand maybe the 49ers aren't trying, but, that is what Sam Darnold's made of. That's why he was a 3rd overall pick, and that's why I feel like Sam Darnold is the guy.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to get into Sam a little bit more in just a second here. You mentioned with Gase, I really don't think he knows that he's allowed to have more than one tight end on the field at the same time. You would think that with the lack of depth at the wide receiver position, he'd want to use both Griffin and Herndon on the field at the same time. Griffin has been a non-factor in both of these games. I don't understand that at all. Does that make any sense to you?
Now, going into this game, in my flight preview video I created on my YouTube channel, I said, you know what? We are depleted at the wide receivers. We do not have Le'Veon Bell. This is a perfect opportunity to get a 2 tight end set. I always compare it to the Philadelphia Eagles, but I know they're really bad right now. They're 0-2. But what Carson Wentz did, at least week 1, they don't have a lot of wide receivers because they're, a lot of injuries. But they got Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, who are both getting a lot of targets. We have Chris Herndon and Ryan Griffin. And Ryan Griffin had 5 touchdowns last year. He has a connection with Sam Darnold. It's not like we have a backup scrub tight end, so we can't run a 2 tight end set. So for Adam Gase to not get his tight ends involved, it's really, really head-scratching how you just don't do that, especially with all these injuries. Like, he just shows time in and time out, he does not know how to adjust. And that's what makes a great coach. Can you adjust on the fly? Can you deal with adversity? And Adam Gase is just not doing that. And it's really unfortunate. But I hope he can learn from his mistakes. This is probably my 50th time saying this, and I wanted to prove me wrong, but it's really not looking like that. And going into the Indianapolis Colts game, he better use both tight ends, man.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's one of the decisions that's a real head scratcher for me. I want to get your take on this. I know what my answer would be. I think you're going to agree with me here and say the one that I'm thinking of. But in the week 2 game against the 49ers, what would you say was Gase's worst decision? I know there were a lot, but what do you think the worst one was?
Yeah, so I actually made a whole rant about this play. I posted on my Twitter and Instagram. It was going for it on 4th and 1, which was a good play call. Good idea to go for it. But the idea to give the ball to your practice squad running back Josh Adams instead of a 37-year-old veteran hot Frank Gore and just running up the middle. And just so you know, Josh Adams, that was his only carry of the game. Are you kidding me? Your only carry is to your practice squad running back on fourth down when Sam Darnold was clicking. The offense was going down the field. We're in the red zone. I completely agree with the idea to go for a fourth down, be aggressive. Let's see Sam Darnold have some play action bootlegs. Get him on the move. Sam Darnold is so good at so many things, and it seems like Adam Gase does not want to maximize his ability to throw on the run. Like that touchdown he had, I know we're going to get into Darnold later, but it was on the run. We don't see any play action bootlegs. That 4th and 1 was a perfect opportunity to do a play action. Let Sam Darnold roll out to his right. If somebody's open, he'll throw it. If not, he'll scramble for 2 yards for the first down. So that was definitely a head scratcher. And I was yelling at my TV so hard. Me and my dad were just going crazy. And that was definitely my biggest head scratching play call from Adam Gase.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Honorable mention is kicking the field goal down 21. That just makes zero sense. But you hit it on the head. It's the 4th down call. Yes, that is the right decision to go for it there. I applaud him for that. But you're telling me that you can't run a quarterback dive, just like take the ball and dive forward like we've seen Brady do a million times in his career. Or, like you said, a play action rollout. Sam is so good on the run, and for some reason – Adam Gase has decided that he wants to make him like Eli Manning, where he's just going to stand in the pocket and not move. It makes zero sense. And how you're giving Josh Adams, who, like you said, is a practice squad player, the ball for the first time and for his only carry on 4th down is inexcusable. That's a fireable offense right there.
I agree, man. And another honorable mention is the 3rd and 19 or something, and we were in our own territory. Instead of taking a shot downfield to get in the end zone or even just taking a shot to get the first down, he just surrenders the drive, and he's so conservative, and he just runs the ball Frank Gore up the middle for 3 yards and settles for 3 points. I understand your point of view where you just want to get points on the board, but you need to be more aggressive. And with the way this offense is going in the NFL in general, it's not what Adam Gase is doing. I know Christopher Johnson said, yeah, he's coaching where the NFL is headed. No, absolutely not. They're aggressive. They're downhill. They are always trying to keep the defense on their heels, and that's not what Adam Gase is doing. He's way too conservative.
Absolutely. Let's get to Sam Darnold a little bit now. Obviously, we're both Darnold guys. I think we can both admit that he wasn't great in week 1. I thought he looked a lot better in week 2. Yes, the numbers weren't phenomenal in terms of yards and YPA, but there are a few drops in the game. And for me, I think he was just executing what was asked of him. Did you see it any different?
Yeah, I mean, week 2 is definitely an improvement for week 1. As we know, against Buffalo, he missed a lot of throws that he wished he had back. He didn't look that comfortable. Whatever the case may be, he came back in week 2 and showed that he was in rhythm. He was comfortable. He really didn't miss a lot of throws. He had an incredible touchdown pass to Chris Herndon that was dropped. Yep. And that was literally the same exact play against the Baltimore Ravens last year to Jamison Crowder. And that was one of the best Sam Darnold highlights of his career. And it's the same exact play. It's a rollout. It's a broken down play. It's basically the patented Sam Darnold move. And Chris Herndon, man, I don't know what's going on with him, but he had 2 feet in bounds. Sam Darnold threw a missile and he dropped it. But Sam Darnold, it just comes down to the coaching staff. I know it sounds like a broken record, but if you just look at it and if you are watching every single snap and you understand Sam Darnold's strengths, you just see that he's not getting Gase is not letting him explore his talents. And he's just, like you said, he's not an Eli Manning type of quarterback. He's not a guy that can sit in the pocket and wait for a guy to be open. And it's just way too conservative, quick passes, quick outs. It's horizontal play calling. We need to get vertical. And that's what Adam Gase's problem is. I think Sam Darnold's going to be fine. I understand the whole, Trevor Lawrence this, he's the generational talent. Sam Darnold was drafted 3rd overall for a reason. He was also supposed to be the 1st overall pick going into that draft class until the day of the draft when we find out the Browns are taking Baker Mayfield. And there's a reason why Sam Darnold was drafted so high and looked at as one of the best quarterback prospects. He has a feel for the game that's unmatched. He has the magical sloppiness ability. I know a lot of people ridicule on his footwork and his decision-making, but his footwork is what definitely needs to improve in his fundamentals, but that's going to happen. He's still 23 years old, and I'm not really here to make excuses for him, but there's some excellent plays happen when he's just throwing the ball in a weird way. Like that play
True.
at the end of the 49ers game, that touchdown to Braxton Berrios, that was a little glimpse of what Sam Darnold can do if you unleash him. If we can get a head coach that understands Sam Darnold's strengths and can really maximize his potential and get talent around him, I'm telling you, Sam Darnold would be lighting up the league. And I'm telling you this right now as well. If Sam Darnold got drafted to any other team than the New York Jets, like the Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs, any other organization that understands culture, understands how to build a winning team, and especially develop a young quarterback, I guarantee you Sam Darnold will be looking like a completely different quarterback and any other team than the New York Jets.
You couldn't have said it any better, my man. I'm still with you. I think Sam Darnold is the guy. I am not ready to move on from Sam Darnold. I don't think this is his fault at all. To me, if you are going and drafting Trevor Lawrence, you're just creating another hole because they're not a quarterback away. They need a ton of wide receiver help. They could probably use help at the guard position long term. They need an edge rusher. They need corner help. This team is not anywhere close to being complete. So if you do draft Trevor Lawrence early, well, now you're going to have the same issues of not having the pieces around him like with Darnold. And I understand you could yell and scream about cap space all you want. Free agency is always a crapshoot. You know that, how it's been with the Jets in the last few years. To me, I think that I want to see Darnold, this is going to sound so weird, but survive the season with Adam Gase, which I think he did this past week. I think he proved, like you said, on that play where he rolled out to the left and made that unbelievable throw. The reaction from everyone was like, oh my God, we have to free Sam Darnold now. And I think there's going to be more games like that. And eventually, hopefully this leads to Adam Gase getting let go and then finally getting a real coach in here.
Yeah, man, I unfortunately don't have confidence in the ownership to really admit when they're wrong. Christopher Johnson is the one that has to be calling the shots here and really get rid of Adam Gase. But, I really hope he's gone, but it really would be a nightmare if they keep him around. And the only way that Christopher Johnson is firing Adam Gase is if this team really looks bad and Sam Darnold's not performing well and this offense looks terrible. So it's weird. What do we root for? Do we root for the offense to look bad and Darnold look bad just so Adam Gase is gone? Or do we want the offense to look great and Sam Darnold look great? But at the same time, that might, keep Adam Gase here for long term. So it's a really tough situation. We just got to watch the games and hopefully Sam Darnold can get in rhythm, get more comfortable. And hopefully against the Indianapolis Colts, he can go out there and show why he could be a franchise quarterback or why he will be a franchise quarterback for the New York Jets. I really don't think Joe Douglas will draft Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion. If we do have the first overall pick or the second pick and Trevor Lawrence is on the board, I feel like Joe Douglas would rather trade that pick back, get assets, than draft Trevor Lawrence because there's so many holes on this team, like you mentioned, that we can get edge rusher, interior offensive line, cornerbacks, wide receivers. I mean, the list goes on and on. We're not a quarterback away from winning football games. So I think Sam Darnold is the least of our worries. And I'm just hoping he can go out there and ball out and deal with this adversity because who the hell is he throwing the ball to? I mean, it's really, it sounds like we're making all these excuses, but it's just the truth. It's not like we're making it up and we're just giving Sam Darnold all these passes. I mean, what other young quarterback has these wide receivers to deal with in Sam Darnold?
Yeah, no, you hit it on the head, man. You're right. It's a brutal situation they put him in, and we don't know what to root for right now. One thing we know that is a positive and has been a success so far, Makai Beckton. I wanted to get your thoughts on Makai and how you think he's played in the first 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, man. Big ticket. He looks like the real deal. I know when we drafted him, the big discussion was he's a boom or bust talent, right? So it's either he's a boom, meaning he's going to be great, or he's a bust, meaning injury prone, he's going to get beat, he's overhyped. And throughout his first 2 games, he's shown his boom trait right now. And he is dominating people. I just made a video of me dissecting his film. And I honestly never seen an offensive tackle throw people around with ease like this. I mean, and especially as a rookie, I'm watching his film and I'm like, wait a second, I'm not watching a film of a veteran that we signed in free agency. I'm watching a rookie that's 21, 22 years old that's only going to get better. And he just looks like a man amongst boys. I know Nick Bosa went down with an injury, unfortunately, so we did not get to see that whole duel. But with the reps I did have together, Makai Beckton won. And Makai Beckton just has the energy. You can see whenever he pancakes people, he gets up, he's pumping his fist. He's probably screaming to the sideline, run behind me. Like I should be the focal point of this offense. So Makai Beckton has exceeded anybody's expectations. I know that we were all excited about him going into the season, rightfully so. but he definitely is playing way better than anybody else would anticipate. Going into his rookie year, I said, I'm like, you know what? Makai's going to get beat. Makai's going to get penalized, but he's still going to have some flashes of potential because, rookie left tackle they get beat up. But right now, he's not getting beat up. He gave up no sacks, no penalties, and had multiple pancakes against the San Francisco 49ers. And week 1, he was giving out pancakes. He gave up 1 sack and had 1 penalty. You cannot ask more for your rookie left tackle. So I think Joe Douglas hit a home run with that pick.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. I think that he's had a tough test. Yes, we know the injuries with the 49ers, but still that 49ers and Bills defense, it's some of the best in football, and he held his own. Only 1 sack, only 1 penalty. I think it looks like a home run as well for Joe Douglas. That was an absolute beauty of a pick. As for this week, in week 3 against the Colts, do you see the Jets having any shot in this game?
It's going to be tough. The Indianapolis Colts are coming off an impressive victory, making Kirk Cousins look like a terrible quarterback. I mean, Kirk Cousins, his numbers were always there on the Vikings, but people look at Kirk Cousins as a terrible quarterback, not good, overpaid. But if you look at Kirk Cousins' numbers in the past, they were always good. So for them to make him throw for 100 yards and 3 interceptions, that definitely concerns me because their defense is hot and this Jets offense is ice cold. So, it's going to come down to them stopping the run on defense because they're a heavy run offense. With their offensive line is excellent with Quentin Nelson, and they got an excellent rookie running back in Jonathan Taylor, and they have a veteran quarterback in Phillip Rivers. So this is going to be a big test. It's definitely not a game that we should just take for lightly, thinking the Jets can easily go out and win this game just because they're the Colts and they have Rivers, who's old. Like, this is a team where they're 1-1, but at the same time, this is a must-win game for the Jets because if we fall 0-3, it's going to be really, really bad. I mean, right now it's bad, but to answer your question, I definitely feel like there is hope, but at the same time, who is Sam Darnold throwing the ball to? Le'Veon Bell's out. Rashad Perriman's going to be out. James Crowder might not be back. Denzel Mims still out. The offensive playmakers are terrible. Connor McGovern might be out. I mean, there's injuries all across the NFL, so we can't really make the excuses, but it's just I don't trust the coaching staff to have that next man up mentality. The great coaches, the great teams like the San Francisco 49ers, for example, they have the most injuries in the NFL, and they still performed at a high level against the Jets. That's all coaching. The great coaches can adjust and have that next man up mentality and thrive. The Jets cannot do that.
Absolutely. For me, I don't have much faith, and the main reason is because I think they're going to get outcoached. I think that the Colts are much better, much more well-run team. Yes, they're not a perfect team. They are 1-1 for a reason. They're not 2-0. But I think that the offense is going to try to run the ball down their throat, which right now seems like a problem for the Jets. And as far as their defense goes, I don't see how the Jets are going to be able to move the ball against this team with the way that they've been playing. Unless Adam Gase wakes up tomorrow and is like, has this coming to God moment where he's like, I have to redo everything, then maybe they'd have a chance. But based on everything we've seen over the last 2 years, I just think it's going to be, a lot of short to intermediate stuff and probably another 15-plus carries for Frank Gore.
Yeah, man, I swear, like, Frank Gore, excellent human being, all-time great. Love him on the Jets. Let's see LaMichael Pirine get some reps, Adam Gase. He had 3 carries for 17 yards. That's like over 5 yards per carry. I'm telling you this, if Kalen Ballage gets more carries than LaMichael Pirine in the future with Le'Veon Bell out, I'm going to riot because that is insane. LaMichael Pirine looked like the best running back in camp, according to the beat reporters, right. And he's finally healthy. Maybe they didn't want to give him a big workload because he's limited in practice and this was his first game in the NFL. But if he's fully participating in practice this week and he's fully healthy, he should be splitting carries with Frank Gore because he is the spark on this Jets offense that they need. I really am high on LaMichael Pirine. I'm hoping they can get creative with him. I think he can fill in for the Le'Veon Bell role in the passing game. He's definitely not the talent as Le'Veon, but, Le'Veon is a huge part of this offense that I feel like a lot of Jets fans are forgetting, and he's out. So there's a lot of adjustments for this Adam Gase in the offense to do, but honestly, I'm excited to watch Makai Beckton and Quentin Williams.
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely something to look forward to. Richie, I appreciate you coming on with me. We'll do it again real soon.
Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate it, man.
First up is Nick from Atlanta, and we are going to rant about the New York Jets game. Let's hear from Nick. What does he have to say after this embarrassing Week 2 loss?
Hey, Matt. It's Nick from Atlanta. So I'm calling at about 4:45 on Sunday after the game, and I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, it's not
Feel
even
that.
like I used to make jokes with my friends, and like now it's not even funny. Like,
Nope.
I don't know what the fans need to do to get this guy fired. I don't know if it means every single fan needs to unfollow him on Twitter, unfollow the team on Twitter, or something, boycott something. It doesn't even have fans in the stands. We can't even boycott the tickets. I mean, we have to do something. I could coach a better game on Madden. I mean,
I bet you could.
God, this is a reaction call. I can't even. I mean, they trotted out Nick Mullins in the second half, and he looked like, Jesus Christ, Matt, we got to do something. All right, it wasn't really a question. I mean, is there anything we can do to get this guy out of here and get Eric Bieniemy in here? I don't even care if they draft Trevor Lawrence at this point. I don't care. I believe in Darnold, but go Jets.
I love that call. The ending of that call was phenomenal. Nick, I feel your pain, man. We all feel your pain. This is a venting session podcast. That's completely okay. This has turned into Jets Therapy. Might have to rebrand the show as Jets Therapy. It's no longer just Jets. I'm kidding. But Nick, you hit it on the head, man. We went through this last year. It's the same exact issues with this team. They're not ready to play. The offense is bad and boring and bland. It's gross to watch. It's not even like the same sport. If you turn on Red Zone after the Jets game and watch all the 4:00 games after that, it's like they're not even playing the same game. It's oh my God, it's so frustrating. It really is. I need Eric Bieniemy to take over and to really get Sam Darnold to where we know he can be. Because at the end of the game, yes, it was garbage time, but the touchdown pass to Braxton Berrios is that's why Sam Darnold was taken where he was. He has that talent. He is in an awful situation that is only being worse. That is only worse because of the head coach. Nick, it's an absolute disgrace. Give me Eric Bieniemy yesterday. We're going to go to Travis from Ohio. Travis, I know you left a couple of voicemails, my man. I only got time for the first one. I'm going to play the first one. So many voicemails. If I don't get to you, please don't feel bad. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best on this one. It's going to be a heavy voicemail show today, boys.
Hey, man. Travis from Ohio.
Travis is dejected. That's how you know it's bad.
This week, want to try to be positive. I want to ask you a series of questions, okay? All right. First one. These are all on the subject of a brilliant offensive mind. Would a brilliant offensive mind pouring on a single field goal in each first half of the game of each game this season
No.
be considered a brilliant offensive mind?
So I've heard.
Would the same offensive genius that has a +1 in turnovers for the year, but would he be outscored 30-58
No.
for the year?
He shouldn't be. No, he shouldn't.
On the same subject, would this offensive guru have a team ranked 32nd in offense for the second straight year?
I don't think so. No, that can't be. Can't be.
Asking for a friend.
Couldn't be.
Per se, said offensive brilliant mind. Be ranked, have an under 500 record after 5 seasons as a head coach, and being that he only got to one playoff, be 0-1 in that postseason game.
No, I don't think so.
Brilliant offensive mind. I'm again just asking for a friend. I don't know.
I would say no.
Chris Johnson is the authority on these things, so not me. Anyway,
Oh man.
again, we're talking about the same brilliant offensive mind. I would rather just say that than say his name. Is that a brilliant offensive mind if they never had a top half ranked offense, let alone a top 10 or top overall as a head coach? Would a brilliant offensive mind
It's still going.
ever go for a field goal instead of a touchdown, being down 21-0? Simple GD math. Trying to hit the cut again.
He got cut off. Sorry, Travis. You hit it on the head, man. It's all for Gase. He is absolutely not a brilliant offensive mind. He has only had success with Peyton Manning. That's what I said when he got hired. 90% of rational Jets fans did not like the hire from day one because they saw his teams in Miami. It's the same issues. They were getting their doors blown off. They were winning these weird, close games, and somehow they get to 7-9 after having a really weird season in terms of offensive production. And then Dowell Loggins along for the ride as well. Are you kidding me? Oh, Travis, what are we going to do, buddy? Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you, my man. Next up is Chris from Jersey. We got some more reaction after week 2.
Hey, Matt, what's going on? Chris from Jersey. Let me start with the disaster we just watched. Not to harp on the same thing over and over, but are you kidding me with Gase's play calling? Every single third down was either a 1-yard throw to the flat or a screen to a wide receiver along the line of scrimmage. How about hit a tight end in the seam? How about look for Herndon, your most capable wide receiver, who, by the way, is not even a wide receiver?
Yep.
I mean, it's so frustrating. I mean, this is on Gase. I still think Darnold's our guy. This is not his fault. It's got to be on Gase. Darnold has absolutely nothing around him. He has no coaching staff to work with him. He has no one to call plays that are going to make him be successful for what he does good. I mean, I think he played all right. He made some good throws. Again, you can't put this on him. A lot of times when you see drives stall, you see that it's not him. These are designed plays where he's not even looking downfield. It's all on Gase. It's all the play calling. You can tell when Darnold's improvising, when he's keeping the tempo fast, when he's looking downfield, that's when he's at his best. I can see that sitting on my couch, stuffing my face with wings, and this buffoon of a coach cannot see that from a sideline.
Yes,
understand.
Preach it.
Anyway, that's my rant. My question is, after week 1, we were all pretty confident Gase was gone, whether it be in the middle of the season or at the very least by the end of the season he'd be gone. With what Chris Johnson said in the middle of the week, do you think it's actually a possibility that Gase could be back next year?
Oh, my God.
Or do you think maybe Chris Johnson is just saying the right thing to just avoid confrontation before he fires this guy? What are the chances that this guy is actually back coaching the team next year? What do you think? Thanks.
Yeah, really appreciate the call. I'd put the chances at really slim. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not a Gase guy. I don't think... While I really don't like what Christopher Johnson had to come out and say, I don't know what else he's going to say in that situation. I don't see him throwing his guy under the bus. Maybe I would have worded it a little differently. I might have said that we need to be better and just leave it at that. Like, we need to be better and go from there. I don't know. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. I don't think there's any coming back from this. I really don't. Especially if they start like 0-6. Are you kidding me? He might be gone before Halloween. Like, it's that bad. It's that dire straits. And I don't want to see him and Dowell Loggins continue to get their grubby mitts all over a 23-year-old Sam Darnold. It's an absolute disgrace what they're doing to this young kid. And if they were to pick Trevor Lawrence, guess what? It's probably going to be some of the same issues that you're seeing with Sam Darnold because the roster is not going to be around him. Go figure. Endless cycle. Thank you so much for the question, Chris. Next up, Liam from Sayville wants to know if this is the worst Jets team ever.
Hey, Matt, this is Liam from Sayville. I have a little two-parter. First off, do you think that this is the worst that the Jets have ever been in history? Like, do you think this is the worst team that they have ever produced?
Maybe.
And secondly, do you think Adam Gase is the worst head coach of all time, even worse than Rich Kotite? At least with Kotite, he didn't have a quarterback. Adam Gase has a franchise quarterback, and he is just ruining him. It's even during his press conference, 4th and 7. Oh, I didn't have any plays. there's nothing that you can really call. That's on you. That's on your playbook.
Yeah.
That's something that you have to fix.
Yes, it
I don't
is.
understand how this could be justified. It can't be justified. It's embarrassing. I'm so upset. I'm not buying anything Jets related, any merchandise until this coach is fired.
Good for you.
I don't even know what else to say. So, thank you, and I guess go Jets.
That's. I really don't know what else to say. You really hit it on the head there. I would say this is definitely in the running for worst Jets team that I've seen. Now, I'm born in 95. Really start remembering and following in like 03, 8 years old is when I was really getting into it. So that was with the Herm years. The one that sticks out, I always go back to 2014 just because of how badly Geno Smith and Michael Vick were at the quarterback position. There was nobody on that team. It's really close. My gut is telling me 2014. This is close. It could pass it. It very well could pass this. As far as Gase goes, he's the worst coach that I've seen coach the Jets. He stinks. He is really, really bad. He has no business being a head coach in this NFL. Not a single chance. He should be. He's had a lack of success for the last 4, going on 5 years now. I don't know what else you could possibly do or say anymore. There's just no words. Thank you, Liam, for the question. Next up is Frank calling in from Staten Island. Wants to talk about Gase favoritism.
Hey, Matt, what's up? It's Frank from Staten Island. So I just finished watching our disappointing Week 2 against the 49ers, and I hate Adam Gase as much as you and probably most Jets fans. But I gotta say, the one thing I hate the most about Adam Gase is about his favoritism to his former players.
Okay.
Why would you bring David Fales last year as your backup quarterback? Now you bring in Frank Gore, I understand, as maybe a veteran presence, but now this Kalen Ballage, I don't understand it. You give Frank Gore to carry 21 times today for, 3 yards to carry? It's nothing. I said there's so many better options out in the free agency market where he could have been getting maybe 10 of those carries and another running back gets another couple carries besides just pounding Frank Gore down the middle. But I don't know. I feel like if they didn't work in Miami, why would they work in New York?
Bingo.
I want to hear your opinions about this. Thanks, Matt, and go Jets.
Yeah, oh my God. You said it perfectly. He does play favoritism. One, Fales should never have been here. Luke Falk was also a Miami Dolphins draft pick that they brought in here. Ballage was arguably the worst running back in football last year. They almost gave up a draft pick for him. It's just that the list goes on and on and on. Demaryius Thomas, what did he do last year? Guys, come on. Demaryius Thomas at this point, it's just... Le'Veon Bell is not getting 21 carries, but Frank Gore at 37, an ancient Frank Gore could get it. It's just, oh my God, it's so frustrating. It really is. Next up is Theo from New Jersey. Let's hear from Theo and what he has to say.
Hey, Matt, this is Theo from Paramus, New Jersey. Been listening to the podcast for a while now. You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
You're like my favorite Jets YouTuber. I go to you for everything. You're the man.
Appreciate it.
The Jets are I can't curse. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The Jets are freaking terrible.
I get it.
Adam Gase needs to go. I don't even know where to start. The injuries are terrible. Even though the Niners had just as many injuries as us, they were both these teams are just made of glass. I mean, they couldn't do anything against Nick Mullins, a backup quarterback. They were throwing in second stringers after Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas got hurt. I mean, Adam Gase needs to go. But I want to ask you one question.
Sure.
Let's say the Jets do end up getting the first overall pick. How would you feel instead of taking Trevor Lawrence, because I believe in Sam Darnold still, instead of picking Trevor Lawrence, you trade that first pick and just get a king's ransom in return? I don't know where they could trade it to, but let me know. And go Jets, man. God.
I love that phone call, by the way. I love the energy on that. I'm not opposed to trading it depending on how Darnold plays the rest of the year. If he stinks the rest of the year, then you take Trevor Lawrence. Sure. If he shows that he seems to be decent but needs help with a new coach, then you hire Eric Bieniemy and you trade out of that pick. That's what I would do. I think some teams that you could look to trade up would be Carolina, the Bears. That's really the main ones that I got right now. I think Jacksonville's liking where they're at right now. Maybe Minnesota. Maybe. Interesting. But I think I would, if Sam Darnold plays well, or at least to the point where it's like, hey, this guy's making plays despite having an awful head coach, then I stick with him. We'll go from there. Thank you so much for the question, Theo. Next up is Anthony from Long Island with some reaction.
What's up, Matt? This is Anthony from Long Island. Where do I begin, man?
I feel you, dude.
Going into this season, I had the mindset like, all right, you know what? Last year was his first year, Adam Gase. They had a bad O-line. They had bad receivers. Let's give him one more chance. And after week one of this damn year, and sorry if I curse.
That's
this
okay.
This is going to be my therapy right now. I need to vent. But
for all of us.
Week one of the damn season, you saw how bad these New York Jets were and how abysmal of a head coach Adam Gase is.
Yep.
And then week two comes around after the fans go absolutely crazy and the CEO has to come out and tell everyone that he's a brilliant offensive mind, and they play worse. Week two, they play worse. Like, where do we even begin? The first play of the game? Sure. They friggin' score an 80-yard touchdown. Like, the defense did not look disciplined. There's zero leadership on that defense. Like, you knew that's the game plan going in, that the San Francisco 49ers are going to run the ball. And that's what happens? Like how
point.
does that happen? And then what's your game plan on offense, Adam Gase? Frank Gore running the ball 21 times at the age of 37? That's your game plan? Like,
it's so true. It's so true.
I'm at such a loss of words right now that it's honestly embarrassing. They don't look like an NFL team. They really don't. It looks like when you're in high school and it's like the 9th graders versus the 12th graders. JV versus varsity. That's exactly what it looks like. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 0-16, to be honest. And then Adam Gase, you're down by 3 scores, right? So what do? You kick a field goal to do what?
This is stupid.
To keep it at 3 scores. Like, where's the logic in that? It makes no sense. Like, I'm not a friggin' coach of football, and even I know not to do that. Like, and then you know what? Let's go to the press conference afterwards. Like, Adam Gase says there's not many plays on 4th and 7 against that defense. How the hell do you say that? Like, you are calling the plays for an NFL team, and you're going to say that there's not many plays that you can call on 4th and 7? There is plenty plays. There's plenty of plays that you could have called. You're just not smart enough to draw up a play to beat them. It's like how do you say that? That is so arrogant and listen, man, I know I didn't really come here with a question. This is more of just a
Oh, I got cut off. Oh, that was great. You had me dying. That was phenomenal, Anthony. You're spot on. That's the reason why I was laughing. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at the fact that you were hitting the nail on the head, that it's ridiculous, that there's no play on 4th and 7. Of course there's plays on 4th and 7 that you can do. Come on, this is ridiculous, guys. This is absolutely ridiculous. And you can't audible out on 4th and 1. Sam Darnold's not allowed to call an audible. Give me a break. Please give me a break. Next up, let's go to Phil. Phil, what do you got for us?
Hey, Matt, it's Phil from Brooklyn, New York. Oh, my God. Where do I start? Right. So, there's something I want to talk about. Before I get into Adam Gase's just horrendous play calling, I want to talk about the Johnson family. My God, are they the worst owners in football? Apparently, Woody Johnson loves Adam Gase. I don't know how.
I don't know how you can love him. I really don't.
I don't.
What is he doing correctly? Hasn't won a game. They scored on the first play. Sam Darnold only throws one touchdown. Are you kidding me? Offensive guru? How does that make any sense? I don't see it. Which really scares me because currently right now, Adam Gase is bringing Sam Darnold down with him. That's the last thing we want, right? But Adam Gase, again, just horrifying play calling. All of it was bad, just all of it. And it even gets more depressing because I was watching Patriots Seahawks games and you just see Jamal Adams flying around the field. It's sad.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Have a good day and stay safe. Bye.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay.
Appreciate it, my man. And you're right. It starts from the top. It starts with ownership. Ownership is inept, and that's part of the reason why the Jets are in the position where they are. It is. Yes, the coach is at fault. Yes, the former general manager is at fault. There's a lot that goes into this, but it starts from the top. Ownership is first and foremost for me. Thank you so much for calling in. We're going to go to KJ now in New Jersey with some reaction.
Hey, Matt, this is KJ from New Jersey. Just want to talk about this dumpster fire we call the New York Jets. I think anyone with eyes can see that this is the worst team in the league right now, and the number one pick is very much in play. I'm sick of this dysfunctional organization always thinking they are a QB away from turning the corner, and that goes back to Favre at least, and look where we sit right now. I understand Lawrence is considered to be a can't-miss prospect, but isn't that what everyone was saying about Darnold a couple years ago?
Thank you. Yes.
They're never going to develop a quarterback without putting pieces in place around him to be successful.
Yes.
Just look around the league yesterday. You saw how much Watson has struggled this season. We saw the Superman effort it took for Mahomes to bring the Chiefs back. What would you realistically expect either to do throwing to Josh Malone and Braxton Berrios with Gase calling plays? I don't see how Douglas can make any fair evaluation of Sam Darnold if things don't change. You're talking about, 6 and 7 string receivers he's throwing to. They've got to make a move for Allen Robinson or Odell Beckham, somebody to give Sam something to work with, and they got to move on from Gase just to see where Sam's at before the end of the season with somebody else calling plays. Anyway, I'm done venting. Let me know what you think. Take care.
KJ, man, you couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Spot on. If you draft Trevor Lawrence, you're still going to have the same issues. Like, they're not a quarterback away from being a competitive team. They need to fire the coach. They need to get some more playmakers in here. They need to build the offensive line more. They've been good, the offensive line, a lot better than what they were. But they don't have a long-term solution at either guard position. Lewis is fine. McGovern struggled in the first 2 weeks, but I think he'll be okay. And Greg Van Roten's probably been the weakest point. Fant surprised me. I think he's been pretty good. But the offensive line still needs work. You need a ton of wide receiver help. You need edge presence, corners. This team is far from complete. So to expect them to come in and be like, Trevor Lawrence is here, it's fine. This team's going to be competent now? Absolutely not. That's not how it works. I'm with you, KJ. Thanks for calling in. Next up is Josh in Woodmere. Wants to talk Trevor Lawrence. Let's hear from him.
Hi, Matt. It's Josh from Woodmere. I got a couple questions. Number one, if we do have the first pick and we're in position to take Trevor Lawrence, I know you like Sam Darnold. I like Sam Darnold too. But I would want Trevor Lawrence, and it's not because I don't believe in Sam Darnold. I think he'll be a good quarterback. I just don't think he'll be as good as Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence might be the best quarterback that will ever come out of college in the last 3, 4, 5 years. He's going to come into this draft, and he's probably going to be, better than Darnold was going into his draft. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks to come out. I would take him over Burrow. I would take him over a lot of these quarterbacks that went high over the last couple of drafts. It's not that I don't like Darnold, it's that I love Lawrence. Lawrence, I think, has the ability and the chance to be a top 5 quarterback. Sam, I wouldn't say top 5. I would say maybe borderline top 10, more of, average, maybe a little bit above average, but not elite. Trevor Lawrence, I think, could be elite. So that's just, I want to hear your thought on that. But, Darnold, I think, played pretty well. I think, he should have had 2 touchdown passes, not 1, but also one of them came in garbage time. Herndon dropped 1. But, just it's ugly football for the Jets. And also, I want to get your thoughts on Beckton. He looks fantastic after the first 2 weeks. I'm really excited about him. Looks like we got franchise left tackle for the first time in a while, which is very exciting. And I want to know your thoughts on Quinn Williams. He also played a great game. So, thank you. Love the show. Go Jets.
All right, we'll start with the young folks in Beckton and Quinnen Williams. I think Beckton has been really good against 2 very tough defenses. Yes, the 49ers had some injuries on that line. We saw that happen, but, this is still a really, really good defense. And he was fine. He looked good against Nick Bosa, too. He was winning some battles. He's pancaking guys. He had a penalty and 1 borderline sack in week 1, but I think he's been more than you could expect. His Pro Football Focus rating is like close to 80 on the season or something like that. He's been really good. And as far as it goes with Quinnen, I thought he played the best game of his career. I need to see more stuff like that out of Quinnen this year. He had like 3/4 of his sack production from last year in this one game. He had 2.5 sacks last year. This year he has 2 in that one game. So hopefully we see some more of that. I get your love for Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback prospect. I just don't think that I just think that you'd be putting him in the same position that you put Darnold in if you don't have the pieces around him, and you're going to be allocating first-round capital on another quarterback instead of using that capital on offensive line help or wide receiver help. Yeah, you could do some stuff in free agency, but that's limited to how much you could spend, and you're competing with other teams. I don't think it's as simple as you draft Trevor Lawrence and the problems go away. I think too many people believe that Trevor Lawrence is the answer in terms of you draft him and everything's fine. Trevor Lawrence can be a very good quarterback in this league, and if he was on this Jets team, I wouldn't be disappointed about it because I think he is going to be good at this level. I just worry about what you're putting around him if you are using a top pick on that position. So that's just my main concern there. Thank you, Josh, for the question. Next is Dave from New Jersey, wants to talk Gase and Douglas.
Hey, Matt, it's Dave from New Jersey. There's 2 things I want to talk about. 1 being Adam Gase and 2 being Joe Douglas. So 1 with Adam Gase, there were 2 points in the game where Adam Gase on a 3rd and 3 threw a 1-yard out route to Malone, I think it was,
yes,
who got stopped short of the first down. I don't understand why you wouldn't be throwing it past the sticks in that situation. And then on the 3rd and 9, on this drive, Darnold on second, it was 2nd and 9. Darnold missed through. I think it was Malone again, and he underthrew him, and it was an incomplete pass. And then on 3rd down, Adam Gase called a screenplay, and they obviously get tackled for like a 1-yard gain, and then they have to punt again. I don't understand why he wouldn't be throwing it past the sticks in situations, especially like 3rd and 3. Just throwing like a 5-yard hitch route. I can't understand what the screens are and why he keeps calling them if they don't work. And then the second point is Joe Douglas. It doesn't take a medical doctor to realize that Rashad Perriman probably has like severe lingering arthritis, and he's probably never going to play to what we thought he was whatever the hope was that he was going to play to. He's never going to be that guy. So what I understand is everybody was praising Joe Douglas at the beginning of the season for all these signings, but the linemen are terrible, except for Makai Beckton. And Alex Lewis is decent, but McGovern's terrible. Like, Fant's not that bad either. And the receivers, he didn't pick up anybody. Like, he didn't pick up any threat. I don't understand what Gase and Douglas at this point too are doing. So let me know what you think about that, and go Jets.
Agree 100% on Gase. As for Douglas, I think he's done a good job with the offensive line. I think Beckton's been good. McGovern struggled through 2 games. I think Fant's been good, and Lewis has been okay. It's really Van Roten and McGovern that have been shaky, but I think that the line is miles better than what it was last year. That's definitely a win, an upgrade. My biggest critique with Douglas is not doing enough at the wide receiver position. I would have brought back Robbie Anderson. I definitely think he is better than Brashad Perriman. Brashad Perriman's had 5 good games in his career and got paid off of that. So far, he hasn't been the receiver that he was at the end of the last season. Maybe that changes when he gets healthy down the stretch, but I doubt it. And I would have liked him to draft another receiver instead of taking Morgan in the 4th round. That's something I was critical of him. But that to me is the main issue. Not doing enough at the wide receiver position, I think, is a real shame. But other than that, I still trust Joe Douglas, and I think he did a good job rebuilding the offensive line with some more work to be done in the next couple of drafts. Thank you, Dave, for your question. Next up is Mel in Brooklyn, wants to talk about bad drafting.
Hey, how you doing, Matt O'Leary? This is Mel from Brooklyn. My question comes today from, just a rebuilding standpoint. Obviously, we're not going to make the playoffs this year.
Correct.
Obviously, we need help on a lot of positions. My question for you today is, where did we go wrong in drafting before, he came along? Oh, GM.
So before
I just want to know about, where is the last 4 second-round picks from 16 to now? Where is we should have something going along. Like, we shouldn't have drafted so bad in the last 4 years that we have no players from, I don't know any players from 16 to his current roster right here.
Jordan Jenkins is the only one.
From 17 to his current roster right here.
Marcus
we should
May.
have some draft picks within the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round even. Because, we suck on all boards. We suck on every position. I just want to know, where did we go wrong before?
Oh, it cut off there. Yeah, I think Mike McCagnon was just a really, really bad drafter, Mel. There was a ton of misses. Christian Hackenberg in the 2nd round of 2016, major miss. Darren Lee in the 1st round, miss. In 2017, you drafted Jamal Adams 6th overall and somehow doubled down on Christian Hackenberg. That was probably wrong when you could have had Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. You drafted Chad Hansen on Darius Stewart in the 4th round and the 3rd round. Marcus May in the 2nd round looks pretty good for now. 2018, you moved up for Darnold, so you didn't have a ton of picks going on in 2018. Chris Herndon looks okay. Nathan Shepard looks okay. It's been bad drafts under McCagnon. It has. Unfortunately, it has. So Joe Douglas has a ton of work to do. Thank you, Mel, for the question. Last one's Dan from New York. Wants to talk about what Sam Darnold's trade value would be.
Hey, Matt. What's going on? It's Dan from New York calling for a second time. I think I came up as Stan by accident, but whichever you prefer. Doesn't matter to me. So as we're all, reeling in this absolutely atrocious start to a season, I'm already at a loss for any optimism. And, the thought of us getting this number 1 pick, especially with the 2nd hardest schedule in the league, is just really, really starting to become more real by the day. So I know we're both Darnold guys at the moment, but let's say as things continue to progress as they are, we end up with the number 1 pick. Gase is gone by Halloween. So we finish out the season with Williams. We're looking at new coaching staff and the number 1 pick. And it's without a doubt that the Jets have no choice but to hit the reset button and take Trevor Lawrence. So my question is, with that, tragic, second rebuild or millionth rebuild in mind, what teams could you see us moving Darnold to for, optimal value? Because right now, I don't. Maybe there's Jacksonville's an option, another quarterback needy team. Maybe we can get somewhere from a 3rd to a 2nd. I'm not really sure. So, hope you can provide some insight as you always do. And again, love the show, love what you're doing, brother, and go Jets.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, Dan. I think if you're trading Sam Darnold, it's because he didn't look good this year. So I don't think a 2nd might be high. I think you're looking at a 3rd or a 4th. And I think some teams that jump out to me. The Bears is definitely a team that jumps out to me. Potentially the Vikings. Kirk Cousins has looked really rough at the start of this year, and I don't know if they can keep running that back. The Saints, maybe. The Raiders could potentially be a team looking for a quarterback. I think Jacksonville is going to be okay with Minshew. The Panthers, I think, are going to be looking for a quarterback in the draft. Trying to think of other teams who could be looking for quarterbacks in the draft. I would imagine that the AFC West is probably good. AFC North, maybe Cleveland. I don't think so. I think they're going to stick with Baker. You're not trading him in the AFC East. AFC South, Indy, maybe, depending on how much is left in the tank for Phil Rivers. Maybe they decide to go the draft route instead. In the NFC East, quarterbacks are probably good. NFC South, maybe Tampa Bay. I mentioned the Saints already. I think the Panthers are going the draft. Falcons are fine. North, Vikings, really. NFC West, you're fine. No, I think those are the teams, man. I think those are the teams that might be looking for a quarterback. If I had to pick 4, I'd go Bears, Vikings, Saints, Raiders, in that order of likelihood. Let me know what you guys think. And thank you guys for tuning in as always. It's not easy. It's a therapy session for us nowadays. Hopefully you enjoyed episode 32. I want to thank Richie again for coming on with me. It's an absolute blast talking Jets with him and all of you guys. If you want a Fire Gase shirt, you can get one down in the description below in the store. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, and I'll talk to you next time.